Hello, and welcome to Oracle Storytelling. Well, if you know, you know what these little organite thing is. Um, Hi, and welcome. I am Sarah of Sarah Wing Intuitive Arts. I do Oracle storytelling videos. I've been making these videos for, I think, maybe 10 years. Um, I am an artist, an intuitive artist, and you can find some of my art on this YouTube channel. You can also find it on Facebook and on Instagram and my website. And all you have to do is just search Sarah Wing Intuitive Arts. So, and what do I have here? I have some lovely fluorite. You can see it pretty well. A little bit of green in there. Unless, no, that's fluorite. And I think this is bloodstone or could be some kind of like blood something jasper, but these were the stones that I felt called to. Also opal, this little opal ring here. So I am doing a video today that is going to, I think, focus on themes of earth and creativity. So at the time I'm filming this, we are on the cusp of Taurus season, meaning today's April 19th, so tomorrow is April 20th, and Taurus season begins. And Taurus is an earth sign. It is a fixed sign, meaning it ushers in a season. So it's ushering in something new, ushering in something new. And like I said, it's earth. So Taurus, we think of Taurus, we think like the bull. So it's very much connected to these earthly things. That classic thing of like outside of Wall Street, there's a big bull, right? So it's connected to earthly things like currency. Taurus is ruled by Venus, and Venus is all about different pleasures, including like, the pleasures of eating food. If you have a sweet tooth, might be interesting to see where your placement is, where your Venus placement is. Or if you go through periods of like intense cravings of like eating very decadent, pleasurable foods, just sporadically, I just like, oh, I have all these sudden cravings. And you enjoy looking into astrology, it's always interesting to see, what's Venus doing to my chart right now that I'm having these yummy, yummy cravings. Anyway, so yeah, so Taurus associated with the earth, so very just earthly matters. It's just a good reminder to ground yourself however you do that. I know some people love taking their shoes off and touching the earth. I like doing that, but living if it's like really cold, I'm not gonna do that. I might literally just ground myself by energetically ground myself by like lying on some type of mat, to bring my focus into my body, or my body be the focal attention point of what I'm doing. Oh God, I'm gonna mess up. In Vedic astrology, it's probably not my dasha, I'm probably messing that up, but I'm Rohini, which is like I think it's like a bull with a red eye in the middle. So forgive me if somebody knows what I'm talking about and I'm messing that up. But yeah, so, currency, just in terms of, walking the earth, the way that we move through the earth, right? And one way we do that is through, putting money out into the world. But yeah, so Taurus, bull, this type of energy. Taurus is ruled by Venus. like I said, she represents different kinds of pleasures, earthly pleasures. So it can be any kind of, um, not just eating food, but like just pleasures of pleasures that we feel in our body, whether it is like things we're eating or, a touch on our skin. Um, I'm sure many things come to mind, the first thing you think of. And Venus also has to do with like creativity. Venus is currently in Taurus, up in the sky. So she's in her home. She's having a good time here, welcoming in Taurus season. So just things to keep in mind here. I think especially with this constant flux of so much stuff just going on. I don't need to say anything. Your mind just fills up. Your cup is full, right? Just, I think, being reminded of some things that, like if you think like your favorite treat or being in nature or grounding in different ways, you're being incredibly intentional and focused just on sensations in your body. If you think those are, if you're kind of forgetting the impact of, simple pleasures when really that's life, right? It's how our body experiences, touch and interaction in the world. And, we need to eat food to stay alive. So kind of a big deal, and maybe when we're overwhelmed, it's just a good reminder to do something that maybe you've written off as like simple or less important, but it couldn't be more important because it's your life and the ways that your body's how you navigate the earth. That's how we do it. That's how we're doing it here. So I grabbed some very earthy things. I grabbed a book to do divination in, Living in a Wild Garden. Beautiful. And Izzy Ivy deck, The Unveiling of the Golden Age. They're just very earthy tools that I'm going to do for divination. I do want to give a shout out and thank my friend John. I wanted a little extra support around my next reading, which turned out to be now. And he posed a question about creativity. And he asked, how does stress affect creativity? And then he also brought up the term, necessity is the mother of invention. So I'll go short and then I'll kind of expand a little bit. First, how does stress affect creativity? Stress kills creativity. Stress nulls it. Stress is something that it kind of just dulls or diminishes or squashes creativity. There's a lot of, because stress is something that it's this felt thing, right? We feel it in our body. Some people are like, I get a stress headache. Some people are like, when I'm stressed, I'm very fatigued. I get very tired. Some people, chronic stress, my God, they can affect any single organ in your body, any single place where your stress is being held in your body. If you've ever heard somebody talk about breathe, if you're like body scan and you see where somewhere's tight in your body and say like you feel like, oh, this part of my thigh is tight, and it's like, okay, breathe into that part of your body. It's because it's where we hold stress, right, in our body. And so it's a killer. Stress affects creativity by killing it, really, because the need, like whatever creative output you're doing, whether it's it could be something very analytical, or it could be very abstract, it could be very functional, it could be very just whimsical. But when stress is in the body, your mind is taken away from that creative point. Your your functionality in your body starts to blur and lower and shut down your body. Chronic stress, my God, how many phantom chronic diseases do we have now? A doctor's like, well, it happens. We named it. We don't know why it happens. You know, and if you're watching this, maybe you can relate to having this happen one or multiple times. If you're a woman, you've probably already come across this in your life, and probably have a much higher chance of having more and more mystery illnesses. You know, they name them. So, how does stress affect creativity? It fucking kills it. It really does. I thought about this earlier before I did the video, and so much comes up in my life because I started thinking, okay, here's stress, and I'm trying to keep it just focused on the stress, because I was thinking like, okay, stress, my brain goes stress to trauma, because trauma is different than stress. Like, and maybe it's the same word to you, and so know that I'm speaking about it differently if it is. But when I say I'm stressed out, it's a very different frequency. It's a very different tone I hear in my voice. Stress is like kind of like the baby sister to trauma, like a very badly behaved, emotionally unintelligent. You should not have that big brother watching the young one type energy. Like that's the trauma. So like the baby sister is kind of like, that's stress energy. But and then it was interesting. So John posed that question. He also brought up that saying of necessity is the mother of invention, which I know that saying, right? It's so for necessity is the mother of invention, but I had to look it up and just be like, well, remind me, like what is the kind of general definition of this? And it was, when it's like necessity in the context that when I looked it up, it was like when the word desperate was involved, no other choice. So, I mean, and that puts me more in the trauma brain. Oh my God. And it's funny because when I think of it that way, necessity is the mother of invention. When you're desperate and have no other options, you get inventive. So that's a trauma state. And that isn't about being creative. When you're desperate and have no other options, that's survival. And it's really, really interesting just to hear that, to hear necessity is the mother of invention. It's an older Turner phrase, and it almost feels ancient. There's something about it, just the way that we term things, the way that the popular sayings and phrasings in society have developed. It almost sounds so antiquated, but it could not be more fundamental. Like if you are in a state of desperation and you have no other options, necessity is the mother of invention. And it's not, I would not say that anytime that I've been in a desperate, no other choice situation that I've been like, let me get creative, like that's not the tea there. I would say it's more like I'm in survival mode. And I'm a very intelligent person, and I've run this fucking gambit before. I have my big learning curves and my downfalls and everything, but when you're in survival mode, you figure it the fuck out the best way you know how. Um, so it's very interesting. So John, both of these states are really shitty to be in, and they shut people down. And I've never like, been like, oh my God, um, I got out of the house safely. I'm so I'm so creative. No, it's survival. This is survival. It's very, very serious. And I think it's good actually that them doing this video now and I'm answering these questions. And if that stressed you out, look at these little happy flowers on my jean jacket. Yay. But I think it's good that I'm talking about this now because I think we kind of can really conflate and lose track of what state we're in sometimes. I've been in like, make it work situations and shitty spaces where I've been like creatively made the space work when it's like a fucked space to work in, creatively. But it's different from being desperate, no other options, right? And I just kind of want to just kind of ruminate on these things to get your mind kind of going. So are you, if you're like, am I feeling stressed out? Okay, stressed out is one thing. Am I in a state of trauma? Or maybe it's like, well, I'm feeling very desperate. Okay, onion peel that a bit, at least one level to go, do I have options? And what are those options? And options are just options. Options aren't, oh my God, I can't do the thing I want to do in the way I want to do it. For, I don't know, I mean, God, that's not been my life. Like, and at least that hasn't worked out for me that way. I don't know. I think there's a lot of moving parts, a lot of people involved in life. So anyway, okay. John, I hope that was helpful. Thank you so much for helping me with today's video. Greatly appreciated. All right. So let's just do a card. Look how pretty these cards are. Again, this is Izzy Ivy unveiling the Golden Age. And I could have actually gotten this deck, and the first time I opened it could have been underneath one of my favorite trees. There's a good chance I might have drawn the first card from this deck under one of my favorite trees. Bring it back to the earth. There we go. And the earth, she's okay. She's fine. She's fine. People are really trying to figure it out right now, but Mother Earth is fine in terms of she's fine. She's fine. She'll be fine if we all just disappeared tomorrow, she'd be fine. And I think it's, I don't know. I think a lot of things, and maybe I'm not going to say all of them now. But here we're going to a smaller deck. Let's think about what. Let's just do it. Also, I'm shocked that I have energy because, quite frankly, maybe it's the eye makeup. I don't know. All right, so we're just going to start with a card, then maybe do a divination in the book, get another card. So look at this beautiful, 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 beautiful portal. Oh, sorry, vortex. This is the Sedona vortex, 9 of portals. Let me tell you already what I like about this, okay? So this is a tarot deck of hers, and obviously in traditional tarot, there aren't vortexes or portals. But so this is 9 of portals. I'm not sure what suit this relates to in traditional tarot, but since we're talking about Earth and Taurus representing these earthly things, including currency, 9 of portals makes me think of 9 of pentacles. 9 of pentacles is a beautiful card, and it's really about having this abundance, including financial abundance, having this sense of abundance. Nines are such fun cards in tarot in general. We just came out of a 9-year, speaking of in numerological terms, last year was a 9-year if you add it up. And it's like this completion of cycles. So when I say like 9s are great cards, it's kind of like we're wrapping it up. Like, you've done everything you can do. You put in all the hard work. You organized everything. People came. People, said this or that. Left, stayed around, helped you clean up, left you some gifts, and then you're kind of just like collecting everything, taking your yummy conversations and food with you as you're getting ready for bed, and you're collecting all these little party gifts maybe got to you, and it's like a completion, like, okay, I can rest, whether I'm tired or I'm wired, whether I feel full or, nourished just enough. Yeah, the 9s are great. So Sedona Vortex. I've not been to Sedona. I know people talk about Sedona, and Sedona is like, Sedona Vortex, so there must be a vortex in Sedona. One sec. Hold on. It's kind of a giant thing. Okay. Isn't that beautiful? She's so beautiful. Right. Sorry, this is like a huge book. Huge book. Look at this. It's a really thick book. She did such a lovely, Izzy Ivy's does tarot and oracle cards. She's an Australian creator, and this was a really cool deck because she writes, I'm not going to read all this obviously, but she writes in part about her personal experience, or as it relates to the creation of a card, which is lovely. And as somebody who has created a deck and needs to get it like published, I have my own stories to tell, that I'll tell when that gets out. Oh, beautiful. All right, Sedona Vortex. This is great. 9 of portals. So wishes are ready to come true. That's beautiful. This is a time to enjoy life's abundant pleasures and shine your light without apology. You and your radiance are vital to the new earth. I mean, I don't have to keep reading. That's perfect. Yeah, so that's awesome. Wishes come true. So it's this lovely, completion card. Like I said, it's kind of like at the end of the night at the party, and you're just kind of taking with you, what you scooped up in terms of abundance, whether it was great conversation, great food, great communication, gifts, whatever you're taking with you after this like lovely journey. This lovely journey. Yeah, life's abundant pleasures. Again, pleasures, just like Venus, this beautiful Venus energy. Shine your light without apology. You and your radiance are vital to the new earth. And bring it back to earth. Earth. Mother Earth, okay? Mother Earth. All right. I mean, I present less tired, but I'm going to tell you, I guess maybe I should just let it be what it is, because I'm not even getting a question right now. I'm just kind of going. Is anything coming to mind? I could do that. it's a little more thought, but card 44, and I think I'm gonna look up page 44. So there. Okay, and then take my little organite, and we're just gonna go like this. That didn't work out. Here, we'll do this. Okay. All right. I was talking about rhubarb. So I'm just going to read about rhubarb, and then we'll just be a little whimsical and playful and see what happens. Rhubarb is a greedy feeder of the midden, but for lack of a steaming pile of horse manure, my God, why not build your winter compost around the rhubarb? This saves trouble. The shoots will sprout through anything. A bit of wire and netting around will keep it tidy, and in summer, the spread of huge leaves will cover a sizable heap. Your rhubarb will grow so strongly as a result that there will be enough to eat as well as plenty of flowers. I think that's really interesting. The horse thing brought me back to earth, like, and especially we're in the year of the horse, you know. But it's really funny. Rhubarb is greedy. Why not build your winter compost around the rhubarb? It's a greedy feeder. But for lack of a steaming pile of horse manure, why not build your winter compost around the rhubarb? So what it makes me think of is, you know, imagine like you're this little plant, okay? And you want to grow big and strong, and you and rhubarb too, I think, like, the part of it, like, I think the leaves are safe, but maybe some of the stems are like poisonous too. Maybe. I think it can be a poisonous thing. So I just like this idea of like, okay, so we're growing and we want to plant ourselves somewhere, right? And sometimes where we plant ourselves, it never looks like we want it to look like. You know, like, sometimes it's just not going to look how we want. But I like this idea of, imagine you're planting in a place that feels like compost, that feels like you feel like you're just kind of stuck with the leftovers, you know? You're kind of just stuck with like, well, I wanted to be there, but I'm here, and, you know, what am I supposed to do? And I just like this idea of, all right, so you're not planted exactly where you want to be, right? And the environment around you, it just feels like an afterthought, like it's like it's the freaking compost. You're going, oh, it just, you know, it doesn't, it's not like the look isn't nourishing me so much, or like certain things maybe you want replaced around you, and they're getting old and you're just not happy about it. But I like this idea of, regardless, you're still going to grow. You're still going to grow in this environment. And in fact, I like this idea of like, well, even though you're in this environment that is just like, maybe you're feeling a reflection around you. Maybe the things around you feel worn down or something, right? It's like a compost, like degrading. And you're starting to think, well, I'm degrading. Well, that's me. You're not things around you. Okay. And you're not every thought that comes through your head. The mind is not this thing that's like gonna fucking tell you the truth all the time. Sometimes we get inundated with thoughts and they're not ours. They're other people's. But I like this idea of like, if you understand that you're not the environment, you're not what the environment you're in isn't you. If the environment around you is degrading, it doesn't matter. It doesn't, or like breaking down, things are breaking down around you. That doesn't mean you're breaking down automatically because you saw things around you break down. Means, well, I'm breaking down. And I love that reminder, because at the end of this little this little tale, it talks about, and then the spring, like, my God, like you planted there, you saw it through the winter, right? So these harsher times. And then the spring's like, woo, like your leaves are like all full and like happy. And flowers spring up around you. Meaning, you know, the things that you're waiting, the things that you're seeing, like, you know, go to compost, like erode or decay around you. There's more than just those things. There's new things coming. There's new seeds being planted that, you know, are going to germinate, and like, you know, the flowers will come up, and you didn't even see those coming. You didn't even know. You're a little rhubarb, okay? You're like a little rhubarb, and you're not focused on like these beautiful leaves that are going to sprout. You're focused on like part of your stem that's poisonous to eat. You decided, I'm poison because look at all this stuff decomposing, all this compost, all this stuff in decay around me. You were thinking about like that. You're thinking your root is that. It's not that. And then in the springtime, you hang in there and you're like, oh my God, look at my lovely little leaves springing up. And unbeknownst to you, other shit too, because, you know, you don't control the fucking universe. So flowers come up too, and you didn't see those flowers. In fact, probably the more distracted you are, it's going to be longer and longer. It might be the flowers might fully sprout up before you even see the first one. Maybe you didn't even see those little buds growing next to you because you're just going, oh no, nothing's changing in the way I want it. Anyway, so just a little reminder there of like, one, you are not the things that you see fermenting, decaying, changing in a way that makes you uncomfortable or uneasy around you. You're not that thing. And the second thing is, you don't control the changes around you. And for all the times that maybe get stuck in a mindset of like, yeah, but I know more and more bad is coming. Well, where the fuck is your mindset of, oh, well, I know more and more good is coming? You don't have to name it. You can just know it. You know? You don't have to know where where all the flowers are planted to appreciate them when they spring up. And you're also not in charge of planting every flower. So, and take that literally, metaphorically, on every level you possibly can. Cool. All right, so let's do another card. And the bottom one came off, so we're just rolling with it. And see what we got. Beautiful. We got Reclaim Your Power, 8 of Activations. I kind of, now I'm thinking about, you know, where we were just talking about like the plant, and then, you know, come spring, all these beautiful leaves. Look at this, like this little, all these little rhubarb leaves spreading out. Ooh. All right. Reclaim Your Power, 8 of Activations. It's number 57. Sorry, I have to pick this up. It is a big book. 57. Oi. Okay. Alrighty. Okay. You may be you know, it's always perfect, right? You may be feeling uncertain about how to move forward. It's time to take your power back and find your way out. Consider if your limitations are self-imposed. I'm going to read that again. That really re-encompasses the first thing we spoke about and these divinations. So, you may be feeling uncertain about how to move forward. It's time to take your power back and find your way out. Consider if your limitations are self-imposed. All right. So the moving forward, again, kind of just the rhubarb analogy that we just went through. Yeah, and that's sometimes, you know, finding your way out means you evolve and grow where you're planted. Sometimes finding your way out means taking one small step every day. That accumulates into more and more unexpected change, right? And at the very least, if you're like, I don't know how to navigate, I don't know how to get out of this, what is the way out? And the way out sounds so big, sometimes the way out of a situation, whatever the situation is just, these small choices every day. So it could just be checking in with yourself throughout the day and being like, how am I feeling? What do I need right now? And taking care of those needs, because you have to get your needs met. You can't avoid your needs. Your needs have to get met. It's going to happen. It's just a matter of how it's going to happen. So it could just be that the way out is just checking with your needs every day. Because what that does in the very base level is you're cultivating self-trust. You're benefiting from a better relationship with yourself. Something I did recently, which I think is really lovely, is, you can have a conversation with your heart. You can just kind of find a space where you can be comfortable, place your hands over your heart, and just ask your heart, what do I need to know? What is like, you can even be like, what is one action step I need to take right now? How do I feel about myself? What are some needs? And the answers will just drop in. They're going to either drop in like words, like clear cognizance, you just know. You might have a vision of something and then you connect that to something either right away or write it down. But the answers will come because it's your heart. Right? What's the last part? Consider if your limitations are self-imposed. So I'm just going to go back to kind of the first thing I was talking about with the idea of stress and creativity. So consider if your limitations are self-imposed and framed in that idea of what is stress versus trauma versus desperation, stuff like that. It is good to know for yourself if you're in trauma but you're calling it I'm stressed out, you need to check in with that. If you're feeling stressed out but you feel like, if you're like, oh, I'm so stressed out today, and you decide that your entire future is done for because of that, check into that. Or if you're feeling like in a state of, necessity is the mother of invention. Okay. If you're feeling like desperate about something, do a little check-in about that, You're feeling desperate because of something much bigger and outside of yourself that you can't control, but you're feeling like it's up to everybody else but me. Or are you feeling desperate and like there's no other choice, and sometimes it's like, sometimes you just don't like the choice. I'm not somebody who loves lots of options, because I don't connect to like a million things at once. I think there's an apathy in options that is run rampant throughout every level of society. That's just not cute. And I think it leaves people more paralyzed than anything. So sometimes it's like, maybe you're feeling desperate and you're feeling desperate for contrast. It's like that ego thing. You just need something different than what you have. You're desperate for, or maybe you're desperate for change. Maybe it's a change that like is coming, but maybe you're not feeling comfortable with time. Maybe you're not feeling safe. You're feeling desperate. Desperation is very connected to safety, I feel like. Desperation is connected to safety, self-esteem, security. A lot of times that can have to do with just the timing. You want something to come before it's time. You want something to go before it's time. It's very uncomfortable. It's boring. It's not what you want. It's whatever. And sometimes we just feel unsafe because something isn't gone yet or something isn't here yet. And that's very human and very natural. But I always, when this comes to mind, I like speaking about it because it can really fuck you up. It can be very paralyzing when you don't feel safe with time. And that's safety, security, self-esteem, these things. And you can feel very desperate, when you feel like your safety, you feel your safety is challenged or affected or compromised in some way. You're not feeling safe with time, right? Or when your self-esteem, you feel desperate about your self-esteem, you're not feeling safe with time. And I like to kind of take in that broader direction because at the end of a lot of it is we don't feel safe with time. It's not even necessarily, it's about not feeling safe with time. Because it's like, I wish something was gone. Well, if it's gone, let's say something you want gone is gone in a day. That's a time thing, right? Or something wonderful is coming in. It doesn't have to be a bad thing. It could be like a wonderful thing. But you can just feel like desperate for this thing to come in. And it's not feeling safe with time. And maybe for myself to attach the idea of divine timing, if you're a believer in that, which I am, meaning I don't know how many people on the planet. There's so many people, okay? And animals and different ecosystems and everything. Everything's moving in a certain harmonic and a certain pattern. We have to just even like think about this. Say a store is open from like 9 to 5. Well, if you go there at 8 in the morning or you go there at 7 or 8 p.m., it's not going to be open, right? And it's kind of like that with life. Like we want these things to be open to us, and just because we don't see the sign saying, hey, today's the 19th and actually there's an opening, things line up, people line up, places and times, divine timing comes to fruition in a week. We don't have the sign, it's not like we're walking up to a business and going, oh, God damn it. Like, I thought it was still open, blah, 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 blah. But it's funny because sometimes we act like that with the universe and the timing of how things come and go in our life, It's like we look them up on fucking Yelp or fucking, something like that, or went on the website of things coming into our life. And we're like, hey, you said that your hours were open this week. Like, what the fuck? Like, you want to like call customer service on the universe and be like, hey, this was supposed to be here. Maybe it sounds stupid, but I feel like that happens a lot. It's that mentality of like I put my order in, where the fuck is it? Let me call customer service. But this is like life, and people having to play different roles to come into your life, to provide different experiences in your life. We can't call up fucking customer service and get that shit organized just for us. We can't stop everything, all the people, I'm just trying to give these different examples of like different ways to look at like when we're impatient. I'm saying that generally, so it can be like a trivial thing or like a massively, really hard thing to go through. We want something gone or coming into our life. And imagine like, oh, it's so funny. And we do this all the time with traffic, right? Like we leave somewhere and we get upset that like, oh my God, I'm going to be so late. And we say it like, why the fuck doesn't every car on the road around me or that drove a distance, or why did, you might as well be like, why did these 5 million people move from here to there, and those people moved to that city, and these people moved, you know, from this country to this country, and those people moved state to state. Ugh, why did they do that? And they're all different individual timelines to put them sitting in these cars to make traffic so bad today, you know? So again, I'm just trying to give little different examples of how we really, we really just, it's just kind of you know, it's objectively like, it's funny, right? It can be very stressful at the time, but it's just like, trying to think. There's this story this one teacher told me. It was about time and divine timing, and just, you know, we don't control the fucking universe. And somebody being at the airport, and somebody missed their flight, and they're like, no, I'm supposed to be on that flight. And I know you're thinking, well, yeah, because they got a ticket and they were late. So yeah, they were supposed, but like, that's kind of the joke, is like, well, obviously they weren't, because they didn't get on, and they were meant to get on a different flight and have a different experience and sit next to a different person, you know, and be waiting next to different people and have a different conversation. And, you know, there's all kinds of flows, all kinds of rhythms going on. I feel like I want to do one more page, and I'm just going to leave it open. I usually ask questions, but I think I'm just too something. Look at this cool. So this whole book, there's these beautiful, he's telling this gorgeous tale about life in his garden, right? And then these beautiful images. I mean, just beautiful, 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 beautiful. Let's see. Oh, this picture of horsetail. Are you freaking kidding me? I love it. So in the rhubarb story, it mentioned horse manure, and I said, horse, that's another thing that reminds me of Earth. We're in the year of the horse, and we opened up to horsetail. So this little sketch here is of horsetail. Love. All right. So what do I do? I'll just read the first little paragraph here. Bracken is another prehistoric species. Ooh, we're going back to the beginning of Earth. Hell yeah. A fern rising similarly from a tough spreading mesh of roots. Not being a hill farmer with pastures to keep clear, I confess that I rather like a little of it, associating its delicacy, unfolding fronds with bluebells, and the dry acid heathland of countless rambles in the spring, when the first fritillary butterflies flit among violets. It was definitely eaten in the war, but I have never found it particularly good, and as recently it has been found to contain carcinogen. What's with these? I remember it was like rhubarb. I think that's partly poisonous. It was said to have contained carcinogen or cancer-producing substance. It is off the it's off the culinary list. Just go on cutting the fronds as they appear and enrich the ground till it goes away, or at any rate retreats to poor healthy woodland where it belongs. And I know there's a lot there. I'm not going to reread it. But I just think it's very funny because this reminds me of the opposite, kind of the opposite of what the other page was talking about. It's kind of like, so it's something that is this prehistoric thing, and over time it was like a delicacy, and at one point in time it was a common thing to eat, but it's like developing and growing. Science found out that, oh, actually it can be poisonous, and that's something that just as a species, like, we just have to figure out. Like, sometimes, you know, if it's immediate poison or we have a reaction, then we know pretty well off. But sometimes, you know, it takes us a long time to learn it. I mean, shit. Remember cigarette ads were like, helps with digestion, good for pregnant women, like shit. And it said this was used in the war, and it was like, geez, you got enough going on. Do you really need something that can have, you know, carcinogens in it? But it's just interesting. So it's kind of like from very early times, and then something that we kept around. And since it's part of the earth and it grows abundantly, it sounds like it's something that was used. It was available, right? And then, but we learn and we grow that, oh, actually, we learn that, oh, actually, it's not the best thing to eat, you know? And it's kind of, I guess, maybe back to what John shared with me, which is necessity is the mother of invention. Desperate times, you know, desperate times when we don't have any other options, right? When we're in a trauma state, at war, we turn to things that are abundant, right? And in a cooperative state, things that we can share as a resource. But then it sounds like as time marches on, so just go on and cutting the fronds as they appear and enrich the ground till it goes away, or at any rate retreats to poor heathy woodland where it belongs. So kind of like, you know, the idea of the tools that we use, that we have to use. I mean, my God, the tools that I've had to use when I'm in a trauma state, when I am desperate, when I have no other option, and it's like a very serious situation. Those are not the tools I use on a daily fucking basis, thank God, you know? Or at least not all the time. But that's kind of it. It's like when you're in a desperate state, when you need to really kick in that survival brain, you're going to use what you need. You're going to use what you can in those moments, right? You're surviving. You're getting through. The idea is the tools that you're using to survive, hopefully, are less harmful than the ones that you're trying to survive from. And that can be tricky. So this idea of you're in war and one of the things that you're eating to nourish you turns out to be poisonous. And sometimes, you know, some of us turn to like substances and we abuse different substances. We have different addictions, right? As a way to escape the things that we're desperate to escape. But I do like that evolution, like in the story of if you're doing that, say you're coping with shit that's fucking you up. It's keeping you either mentally dulled down and not present. It's fucking up your mind, your body in some way. Or it's keeping you just dulled. But not, it's not really freeing you from what you're trying to remove yourself from. I like the ending of that story where it just says like, well, we know better now. So eventually we learn, right? And we know better and we stop using certain addictive tools, whatever they are. Doesn't have to be a substance, addictive tools, things we're addicted to. And we just leave them be. It says, go ahead, just cut it. It's like, it says in the book, it's like, go ahead, just cut them off, cut these things off and let them like feed the land and the forest and we're good. So it's kind of like at a certain point, you learn to cut off the things that you had to use to survive that have maybe become more of a dependency. You cut them off and you let them be. You let them live their best life outside of your body and your mind. So yeah, happy entry into Taurus season. Remember that your body takes you through this lifetime. This is how we experience life. Show your body some love. Show your skin, or skin's your biggest organ. So show your skin some love. Show it something pleasurable, or the things that you find relaxing and pleasurable. Do a little more of those. Take some moments to do that. Take moments to ground. Take moments to touch the earth. Take moments to put flowers in front of you. I mean, pleasure can mean visual pleasure, you know. Maybe you want to, you know, do a certain makeup, a certain thing to your hair, wear a certain thing, do a certain perfume, eat a little delicacy, right? Um, whatever it may be. Put something beautiful up in your house, or like you said, get some beautiful flowers in. Then you have that fragrance too. You know, all types of aromatherapy, light a beautiful candle that just like, I have one candle that is probably on back order for a month. It's like my favorite fucking candle that I'm looking forward to coming in. And it will come in like during Taurus season, before the end of Taurus season. But as always, please, please, please be the rhubarb that knows its big full leaves are coming, and who believes that regardless of whether they know where the flowers are planted or if they planted flowers, that flowers are coming up around you as well. Be that rhubarb. Be the rhubarb that knows its leaves are blooming. And know that you are always loved. You are innately worthy. You have innate worth. That means whether you're hiking up a mountain, saving puppies, sitting in a chair, filming a video, laying on the ground, doing what you can moment by moment, innately worthy. We all have innate worth, and we are all so crazy loved. So just a reminder to get on board and do one thing to show yourself some love. Just take a moment, touch your heart, and just think, tell me one way right now, one action that I can take to make myself happy, and let this answer come to you and take that direction. Or keep trying, and you'll eventually get on board with your heart. Okay? And until next time.